Hey everyone, Robert Sislo here, Director of Production for Grant Cardone TV, new host of Ask the Pro, and today I have a very special guest. I have Jay McHugh right here, coming all the way in from up north, the land up north. Jay is known as the appreciation expert, and today he's going to tell you everything about what that industry is, why it is so important and integral to sales, follow-up, and getting your deals closed. So Jay, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you coming all the way down here.
Thanks for having
Brought all
me.
the cards. He sent brownies in. I love the brownies and great treats. And he's going to tell you why that is so important when it comes to sales. So Jay, look, you started off, it says, you were hustling the Boston Globe, you were cutting lawns, you did a little bit of bartending, and then you started seeing the importance of appreciation.
Sure.
So take us all back. How'd you get started?
Well, I love this story. It's when I was 8 years of age, a gentleman was coming to the neighborhood, and my brother was much taller than me, and he stopped and asked my brother if he'd like to hustle the Boston Globe. And I was bummed out because he didn't ask me. So my brother started it, and for a period of time, he wasn't crazy about it, and he stopped, and I picked up the route. And when I picked up the route, I started saying please and thank you more and more often, and I'd start to bring in lots of tips more than he ever saw. So I always had the good hockey skates, or I always had money for soccer cleats. And then it went into the same type of thing about cutting lawns in the neighborhood and just saying nice things to older people and getting tipped well on it. And then I recall in my college years, when everyone was going to Miami Beach and so forth, South Beach, I went back to school. I went to bartending school. And I realized by going back to bartending school while I was still at Stonehill College, I was able to then get a great job down the Cape. And again, by appreciating, I'm making good money just by saying thanks in the appreciation business of bartending, etc. And it dawned on me, the people who appreciate more and more often tend to have a better lifestyle. They tend to make more money, and they tend to like their work. So that brought me into the real estate business, and in the real estate business,
now your company did, in real estate,
Yeah.
you guys did $1 billion in sales.
That's
in
right.
real estate.
That's right.
This was last year.
This is last year.
Last year, $1 billion in sales, and you're the largest independent real estate company in the New England area.
That's correct.
Okay.
And because of the basis of appreciation and because of the technology world that has changed over the last few years, you can start to see that people are texting and they're emailing and they're leaving voicemails, but they're not cementing a relationship. So that missing piece is so valuable in following up or making follow-up calls or getting referrals. I have this thing that I tell people do not refer average. If you were getting engaged and I said, hey Rob, let me refer you to an average restaurant with an average bill, with an average atmosphere, I just say I don't know of a restaurant. But if I have a great restaurant that I want to say, I know someone that has a great restaurant, I'm going to set you up, you're going to have a great dinner, you're going to have a memorable experience, and it's going to be on me. I'm willing to put my neck out for an extraordinary experience.
I like that.
So many people think...
So the experience is the thing that you'll always remember.
Well, the experience is always what you'll remember, but people do not refer average.
Right.
And what happens is that people think that just because you belong to a networking group, just because you belong to an alumni, people are going to refer you. It doesn't work that way. You have to work on getting the referral, the reciprocal business, the endorsement, the testimonial. And what happens is that most people are afraid to ask. But when you can send something unexpected, which I sometimes call the reverse thank you.
Yes, which you've done quite a few times.
When someone does business and you want to say thank you, but you send them a thank you for them doing business with you and vice versa, they're like stopping and saying, wait a minute, I should be thanking you, Jay. I'm like, right, I'm just trying to teach you a lesson here in a positive way. Because I think the world is devoid of appreciation. And if we can add more appreciation, I think we all benefit from it. We have less people giving the #1 sign with the middle finger in the middle of the street on a Friday afternoon.
Right.
And we have more people remembering Father's Days and Mother's Days and bereavements and so forth.
So your whole concept developed out of this thing. Okay, I started this business. I was doing bartending. I was appreciating everything. I was appreciating the clients. Just being aware that every moment was an opportunity to be appreciative of.
Yeah, and just separating yourself from your competition. Again,
how do you separate yourself out from that?
Well, here's an example. Like when I was bartending, we used to split the tips. And I would see bartenders on my shift just give you a beer, and then you'd give it $5 and you'd get $3 back or $2 back. And I'd look over and I'd say, if you just said thank you, Rob, maybe he gives you the total $5.
Right.
And they just think it's customary for them just to tip anyway. No, people will tip and tip more if you're just kind to them. So these little small nuggets that I saw would upset me, and I'd make sure I would never do that myself. And because of that, then you can go forward. In the real estate business, this is interesting, I've been practicing for over 25 years. In the last 4 years, I've realized that most real estate agents will say thank you after the closing, or right near the closing. And they're getting this big commission, and they're going to Home Depot and buying a Home Depot card, and they're giving a billion-dollar company more business. And the consumer says, big deal, I just saw you make this big commission. Why don't we start saying thank you the minute we have?
Right at the beginning. Hey,
Exactly.
thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. I think I did that with you. I think it was like, hey, thank you so much for the call, Jay.
Absolutely, we call it front-loaded.
Front-loaded,
You
yes.
front-load the appreciation.
Yes.
You spent the same amount of money, but guess what? The client refers you during the process and much more thereafter.
Well, I mean, you're granting beingness. You're granting, the awareness of, hey, this is an actual person that I'm going to do business with, who I'm going to help, and who's requesting my service. So why should I not be appreciative towards them?
There's a great saying is that most of the Irish stubbornness, sometimes they hold a grudge for many, many years. They get to the wake and the funeral and they cry for 2, 3, 4 days. If we're saying thank you, we love you, we appreciate you during their lifetime, we only can take you 5 minutes at the wake of the funeral and get back to the golf course. So the point of it all is, why do we not tell people that we love them and we appreciate them when they're living? Why do we not tell our clients and our customer base that we appreciate them while they have an opportunity to refer us business or do more business with us? Sometimes it's a big ego up here. Well, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that stuff, Jay. I say, okay, fine. I thank you for not doing it because you're my direct competition, and I appreciate you for not doing that. That's sometimes what I say to people.
So you are talking about getting ahead of the competition by actually acknowledging both the competition and your clients all the way through.
Well, I try to help people and make them understand that if you're not doing this, well, shame on you. But somebody else will be doing it, like me or you or Grant or Cody or Stacy, and they will be the beneficiaries of it. And that's a great thing. When we don't do that, we tend to start to think, I have this great saying, people count, numbers don't. When people focus on people, they will always have business, they'll always have a job, they'll never be out of work. When you focus on the number, you spend so much time focusing on the number, what's the return on the investment, Jay, that you never get it done. You procrastinate, you have cement shoes. And therefore, who suffers? You do, but also your consumer, your raving fan, your advocate.
And I think that was one of the first important lessons that I learned in sales, was not so much focusing on that final number, but it's like, dude, how can I be of service to somebody? I have a particular set of skills, you have a particular set of skills, the sales team, Grant, everybody has a specific way. How can you utilize those skills to be of service to somebody else?
Right.
And once I made that adjustment, because when I first started, it was a little bit of a rocky road, like, hey, what's the deal here? Once I acknowledged that, no, it's more service oriented. It's more, how can I help that person?
Yep.
What could I do to make myself a little bit different from everybody else? And that's exactly what you're talking about with appreciation. So look, why is it, two things here. Why is it more important right now that we do this? Utilize appreciation in our marketing, in our follow-up, in our sales, and then maybe give us some examples of how you use it and how the audience
Sure.
will use it.
So, for example, we're living in a technology age. I mean, we have cell phones, we can LinkedIn, we can Google, we can do all kinds of reviews before we even decide if we want to use your services or my services. And you don't know who's looking, frankly. So because of technology, we have to be that much sharper. But as I explained to my real estate peers, what Zillow and Google and Active Rain and other real estate interlopers, I call them, what they don't have is they don't have your birthday. They don't have what you like. They don't have your wife's name, your girlfriend's name, your children's birthdays. So if we have that information, we have one step up on these billion-dollar companies, but we're not utilizing it, except folks like you and I, and Stacy and Cody and others that are in our sphere. So the thing that I try to explain to people is that I don't have enough dollars to compete with Google or Zillow, right?
But what you do have is the ability to
Yes.
create that appreciation, that connection with that particular prospect or client.
which stops those clients from going to Google or Zillow because they pick up the phone and say, you know everybody, Jay.
Yes.
And therefore, now I'm building that infrastructure that people are looking for, just through appreciating more and more often. I also tell people, you don't need to farm to 1 million people. You need to start with the 200 people that would come to your wake, your funeral, or more importantly, your own wedding. Because those are the ones who've been thirsty to hear from you. Wow. this is great stuff. So every time I talk about this, I get more excited, because the reality is that people are running around and they're putting Facebook ads and their Google ads and all this other stuff. And when you think about it, the people who are closest to you, they just want to hear from you. And if you can massage the communication in such a way that they want to work with you and they want to help you, it's a home run, if not a grand slam. And that's what I'm here trying to share with others, is to explain to people, if you just take the time to appreciate the people that you've done business with, the people who have referred you business in the past, and say thank you more and more often, you'll have a greater business.
That's incredible. I mean, I absolutely agree with that. And that's something that I've noticed when you start throwing in the more personal aspect of advertising on social media, and that's something I've been trying to tweak lately a little bit more of, is kind of integrate the ad into the personal experience. I see a higher engagement rate with that than anything else. So I think that's information that everybody can benefit from. So how does somebody utilize this system?
Well, easily. They can go to my website, which is myrandomactsofcardness.com. Obviously, I coined that phrase, that URL, because we all have heard my random acts of kindness.
Right.
But I want to get the message out there, myrandomactsofcardness.com, where you can create a card that is physical, that is not emailed, that is going to be shelf life. So my peers will send out sometimes handwritten cards. Nothing wrong with handwritten cards, but we all know that they come and they go in the trash. Someone gets a card like this, they're most likely going to have more shelf life.
Right.
If you're creating shelf life, you're creating tomato, top of mind awareness, through others. So you're getting a better bang for your investment. So when you go to myrandomactsofcardness.com, you'll be able to review the site, you'll be able to pick your own package, but more importantly, you'll start to gain some perspective and some education about what we need to do right, not just what we need to do. I have this great analogy that Rob and I are good friends, and you're down here in Miami and I'm in Boston, but you're a beginner golfer and I'm a 10 handicapper. So we have a gentleman's bet, who's a better golfer, after practicing 1 hour a day for 6 months. And the audience will say, well, you are, Jay. You started out as a 10. You were way ahead of Rob. I said, not necessarily. I'm practicing with other 10 handicappers. I become better at becoming a 10 handicapper. Meanwhile, you're practicing with Jordan Spieth. You become a scratch golfer in 6 months because you're practicing the correct behaviors to become a scratch golfer. So a lot of people in our business world, that they're doing a lot of work, they're just getting better at being average.
I see.
And
so it's like that mindless busyness. Is that what you're talking about? Like getting really good at being busy.
Exactly.
But really, you should be getting good at being proactive and productive.
And that's what I love about
and
Grant.
Effective.
And that's what I love about you and Grant Cardone, is that you've opened up my own eyes about helping people more in the appreciation, but also in what you're doing and understanding the follow-up, the words, the consistency, the perspective, and all of that gels in. I might be the expert in the appreciation world. You guys are masters in the sales world, and that's why we're down here today, because I'm psyched to be with you guys.
Right, and there's tips that I took from you that I absolutely loved. Like when you sent me, I think you sent me, what'd you send? I got a card, and I got cookies, and I got brownies. And when
Before you even met me.
Before I even met you. And so it was already a warm introduction. I'm like, dude, this guy's cool. You know, we shared it with the whole web team, and everybody was excited because it's a different way, as opposed to sending a selfie video, which I think is great. I love that. The conversion rates on that are insane. But just something a little bit more physical that I could touch has left that impact on me. So let's talk about this, this myrandomactsofcardness.com. We've spoken about it. It's almost like a network marketing deal, but how does this coincide? Why is it contagious as far as utilizing, getting in front of people, making a difference, and having them remember you? This tomato that you talked about.
Sure. Well, the business that I'm in is a network marketing company, which is awesome. It also has a customer-based product, which you can just use as a customer. But what's interesting, if you study, which I know you do, and you listen and you read listen to the podcast and read all the good blogs out there, they say that in about 12 to 25 years, there'll be another billion people on this earth. That means there'll be 8 billion people. However, they did say also that there'll be 4 billion people who are out of work, which means half the population of today's world, or in 25 years, will be unemployed. If you're not taking care of yourself in terms of building your own business, whether it's through network marketing, direct selling, independent contracting, you're risking yourself for being out of business in the near future, just because of technology. Technology has scraped a number of jobs that never before was ever seen to be gone.
Yeah, I understand, and that's something that Grant's talked about before. He's like, you need to be in a position where you cannot be replaced by a machine.
Exactly, exactly. So if someone is building their business in their industry while assisting themselves by building a side business in the network marketing business, you're basically maximizing your 10, 12-hour days. It's awesome. And of course, the people who see what we see, which is awesome, they start to say, well, I can do the same thing. Here's a good example. Facebook, 8 years ago, people were just a little, oh, it's just something about MySpace.
Well, Facebook at first was only for college students.
Right, but again, it was just one of these new apps and one of these new things, platforms that mimicked MySpace. But where is Facebook today? And I'll give you an example. What Facebook did very well is that they used pictures to connect the dots and made it easy for people to connect the dots, like you just said, a warm introduction. And then, of course, they did really well by now selling ads and becoming a multi-billion-dollar company. The same thing what I am subscribing to for my peers is that when you can use a thank you by sending a picture, something like this is going to be shelf life. I'm never throwing this card out. But the number of cards that I've gotten that were handwritten over the years, I haven't saved. And again, we're talking about card sending, knowing your audience, knowing exactly what to send so that they will create that tomato and want to refer you business. And when you teach others to do the same thing, boy, we have 1 million realtors in the National Association of Realtors. 1 million realtors. There's about 250,000 that make a good living. A lot of them just hang a shingle. Yet, most of them don't know what they're doing in this business because they, again, competing with Google or Zillow or other interlopers, that the commissions and professional service fees are being compressed. So my wife and I are looking at this and we're saying, what will happen in 10 to 15 years in our real estate business? Well, someone said, oh, we're never going to be replaced. We haven't been replaced in the last 10 years, but our commission rates have gone down and down and down. So I look at this industry and I say to myself, well, when you can work in this network marketing business while still doing your real estate, your mortgages, your home inspections, your title work, etc., but also sharing an entity of helping people get the word out about appreciating more and more often, it's a wonderful world.
That's incredible, and I love that. So send out cards is a network marketing setup industry, set up that way. Now, why would somebody get involved in that? How would they apply that to their current business structure right now? And how could they grow in that business?
Well, first of all, I think network marketing, whatever network marketing company you're in, is awesome because of the education. I tell people all the time, if you get into a network marketing company, you can get so much great business education by just associating yourself. Where people are paying $500, $600 a month for certain industry professionals, I say to myself, wow, you could tap into me plus a number of other people for free. And therefore, the education that you get out of a direct selling, a network marketing company is unbelievable. Secondly, it sharpens your own skills because people, I tell people all the time, if you find it difficult to sell a package of send-out cards, but you're listing $1 million homes on Martha's Vineyard, God, you got to change your framework. It's not that difficult to introduce someone to a $400 package to get them on their way to understand a tax benefit as well as the opportunity to have a lot of people sending lots of cards and gifts from your store. I like this analogy I told someone. If I and my wife have a florist shop and we have a bereavement in our company,
right,
and I end up calling 1-800-FLOWERS to send a bereavement floral arrangement to the funeral home, and I didn't use my wife's florist shop, do you think my bedroom would be warm or cold that night?
I mean,
so the point is,
come on, man.
the point is, we as individuals have our own stores. We don't have to go to Walmart. We don't have to go to Walgreens. We can go to our own store. It's open 24/7. It doesn't close. During these huge snowstorms last year in the Northeast, not this past winter, but the following winter, people were stuck indoors for 5, 6, 10 days. They couldn't go to the store and buy a gift. They missed bereavements. They missed Valentine's. They missed St. Patrick's Day. I'm like, folks, use your send-out card, Jay McHugh, My Random Acts of Kindness account, and send cards all over the world while you're watching the Bruins or the Celtics win or lose. And they're like, you're a genius, Jay. I said, you're overthinking it.
Simplify it.
You're spending too much.
Simplify the communication.
Right. We now have an app on the phone where I can send a card right now while we're doing this. It's amazing. I can send an app while I'm on the plane. I can send an app. I can send a card and box of brownies while I'm on the plane.
So when people sit there and say, oh, maybe I don't have time to do this,
God.
I don't have time to do that, man, I got so many things going on, it takes literally minutes to get this thing set up and then show your clients, hey, I'm thinking about you, you're important to me, thank you for your business, I appreciate that.
Exactly. And if you don't do that, your competition thanks you for not doing that.
Right,
That's what
because
I tell
then
people.
they sweep in and scoop you up.
Well, they're
Scoop 'em up.
just happy that you don't do it.
Yeah.
So the point is, like Grant will tell us all the time, we have plenty of time, 86,400 seconds in every single day.
Exactly.
And you're finding reasons not to do the simplest things. Would you not brush your teeth on your wedding day? Of course you would. You find time to do that. So if you liken the things that are important to running a business and to continue running that business well, you import this particular situation into that business. And you can have teams to do that, or you can just hit check marks. You know, a file closes, you make sure the check mark goes out that this was done. It doesn't close, the file doesn't close unless it's done. And you become disciplinarian and systematize on those things. And that's what I teach, and that's what we're here trying to explain this to more people that do not make it more than what it is. It's a system to help you with follow-up through appreciation that will generate more and more referrals. You and I both know it takes 16 times more dollars to get a new customer than it is to retain one.
It is.
But we don't have a system on retainment, outside of Grant and you, of course. But for the most part, most people just need to be pushed into something and say, boy, it does not close, or you do not get paid. Real estate broker owners out there, you could embark. You do not get paid until we see that you have sent out a card to your clients saying thanks.
This is just another avenue to increase the follow-up level, to increase the appreciation, to ensure that that deal gets closer. And not even that, service and help the customer and grow your business.
And guess what? The agent would appreciate the little push because they want to get their commission check.
So when someone starts using the send out cards, what's like the conversion level on that? Like what's like give me a percentage, or like what kind of thing could I expect to see if I start sending people cards and cookies and all this stuff?
I'll give you our little story. Is that okay? Do you give me permission?
Yeah.
So about 8 years ago, we got involved in our send out cards business. Stacy and Andy are running a business, about 80 agents, and doing about $91 million in year business. Stacy and I met at a broker owner meeting. We've gotten married. We have a beautiful daughter named Ocean. But what we've done is that when we take a new agent on, we have a profile sheet, a bio sheet, which they volunteer put their information, which is their birthday, maybe their wedding, maybe their children's name, maybe their pets' names, and their birthdays. We put that into something called a computer. I think we all have one, right?
I think we do. I think.
So we put it in the computer, and it spits out these things called reminders.
Right.
And so every month, we were sending out brownies, a 2-pack of brownies, to the agent. But not just the agent, to the agent's spouse. Not just to the agent's spouse, but to the agent's kids. We grew our business. Now, at 404 agents that we have, we decided to send out a 4-pack of brownies to the agent's spouse, and to the agent's children. Guess why? Because when you get 4 brownies, you have to share them. And when you share them, guess what you do? You tell them where you got them. And guess who comes with recruiting calls that we didn't even make because someone heard of someone getting a 4-pack of brownies for their children, and those other broker owners don't do that. It's amazing.
Distinguish yourself in the marketplace.
Every small, medium-sized business owner could do the same simple thing that I just mentioned.
I love it. And what kind of an increase would you see out of that?
Well, we had
Tell me about referrals, yeah.
we had 81 agents.
Now
we
you
have
have
404 agents.
Woo!
We did 81 million, and now we did over $1 billion.
You're growing, man.
We're just scratching the surface.
I love that. So
And your help and Grant's help,
we're making it happen.
I applaud you.
We're making it happen.
You push me. I love it.
I did push you. I did a lot of follow-up videos, and I remember you talking to me. It's like, hey, you should take a look at this and try this other avenue. And because of that, I'm starting to implement it right now because I think it's a great little thing. I love the idea of someone getting something physical. You can't touch my text. You can't touch my tweets. You can't touch my video. You see my face, which is nice. But this is just that extra level.
We can send books. I'm going to try to get your books onto our library.
Oh, I love that.
This is unbelievable. You can send books. Books are unbelievable because there's shelf life. And when you can send a gift called a book and someone improves, How to Win Friends and Influence Family, Beach Money, Promptings by Cody Bateman, they're going to remember not only that you sent the gift, but the improvement of their own life.
You cared enough
infinite.
to do that.
It's infinite.
I love it.
Yeah.
Guys, this is Jay McHugh. He is at myrandomactsofcardinals.com. If you want to check out the way that he uses appreciation in marketing for businesses, growing sales, referrals, the betterment of follow-up. Look, I took a lot of good takeaways out of here. You want to focus on people. Saying thank you distinguishes you outside of your competition. Tomato, which is top of mind awareness through others by sending people brownies, sending people cards, sending people things that they can actually utilize and use. And then the personal touch. I mean, what a great way to connect with people and grow your business. Jay, where can people follow you?
Oh, you can Google me very easily, Jay McHugh, myrandomactsofcardiness.com, at JAYMCHUGH is my Twitter handle. Very transparent. I love sharing. I mean, I really love doing what you guys are doing. Obviously, I'm a smaller scale than you guys, but I do think that the world is our oyster. The more people we can help, the better everybody is. And I think that's what we're going to leave on this particular note with, is that we're just trying to help people do more and more business. Our biggest competitor are these billion-dollar companies. And if we can get back to recognizing and appreciating people, they will be your sales force, and you'll be amazed how big your business can grow just by appreciating them.
I love it. I love it. Guys, this is Ask the Pro, where every week we come with the expert in their industry. I want to see you in that chair. I'm Robert Sislow. Recognize and appreciate people and grow your sales force that way. This has been Ask the Pro with Jay McHugh. Robert Sislow, have a great one. Thanks, guys.